So here's a question. What if I told you that one simple fruit could potentially lower your risk of cardiovascular disease by 25%? And what if that same fruit could improve your gut health, help manage your blood pressure, and even boost your mood? Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, let's talk about bananas. Look, I get it. We've all heard that bananas are good for you. But what actually happens inside your body when you eat one every single day? Today, we're diving into the real science behind this yellow powerhouse. And trust me, some of these findings are going to surprise you. Your blood pressure actually changes. Let's start with something that affects over 1.3 billion people: worldwide high blood pressure. Here's what's fascinating. A medium banana contains about 422 to 450 milligrams of potassium. And here's why that matters. A 2021 study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association found something remarkable. People who consumed more than 3,000 milligrams of potassium daily had a 25% lower risk of cardiovascular disease. That's not a small number. We're talking about heart attacks, strokes, the works. But here's where it gets interesting. Multiple meta-analyses of randomized controlled trials have shown that potassium supplementation can reduce systolic blood pressure by about 4.5 millimeters of mercury and diastolic pressure by about 3 millimeters. Now you might be thinking, okay, that doesn't sound like much. But in population health terms, that small reduction could prevent thousands of cardiovascular deaths annually. The mechanism is actually pretty elegant. Potassium helps your body excrete excess sodium through urine, and it also relaxes blood vessel walls. It's like a natural blood pressure medication, except it comes wrapped in a convenient yellow package. Your gut microbiome gets an upgrade. Now here's something most people don't know about bananas. They're what scientists call a prebiotic food. And no, that's not a typo. I'm not talking about probiotics, the good bacteria. I'm talking about prebiotics, which are essentially food for those good bacteria. A 2024 study published in Frontiers in Nutrition looked at what happened when people consumed green banana powder daily for 2 weeks. The results? After just 7 days, 79% of participants reported normal stool consistency compared to 65% in the control group. But it goes deeper than that. The study found that banana consumption actually increased beneficial bacterial species in the gut, particularly bifidobacteria. Another randomized controlled trial examined 34 healthy women who ate bananas twice daily for 60 days. Researchers found that mean bifidobacterial levels increased in the banana group. And here's the kicker. Participants reported significantly lower bloating compared to controls. The fiber content in bananas, about 3 grams per medium. Fruit includes a resistant starch that doesn't get digested in your small intestines. Instead, it travels to your colon, where it ferments, producing short-chain fatty acids that are crucial for gut health. And here's why this matters. About 70% of your immune cells reside in your gut. When your gut microbiome is healthy, your entire immune system benefits. It's not just about digestion. We're talking about inflammation, mood regulation, even cognitive function. The mental health connection nobody talks about. Okay, this is where things get really interesting. Bananas contain an amino acid called tryptophan. Now, if you've heard of tryptophan, you probably associate it with turkey and Thanksgiving naps. But here's what actually happens. Tryptophan is a precursor to serotonin, that neurotransmitter we call the happiness hormone. But bananas don't just give you tryptophan. They also contain vitamin B6. And a medium banana provides about 30% of your daily recommended intake. Why does B6 matter? Because it's essential for converting tryptophan into serotonin. It's like having both the raw material and the factory to process it. A cross-sectional study published in 2024 examined the relationship between banana consumption and depressive symptoms in Chinese adults. The findings suggested that regular banana intake was associated with reduced odds of depression over a 20-year period. Now, correlation doesn't equal causation, but when you understand the biochemistry, it starts to make sense. Research has shown that people with depression and anxiety disorders often have significantly lower levels of both tryptophan and serotonin. Bananas also contain magnesium, about 27 milligrams per fruit, which plays a role in mood regulation and sleep quality. Multiple studies have linked magnesium deficiency to depression and anxiety. So when you eat a banana, you're not just snacking. You're potentially supporting your mental health. Your exercise performance could improve. Athletes have been reaching for bananas for decades, and there's solid science behind it. Researchers at Appalachian State University's Human Performance Lab ran a fascinating experiment. They compared eating half a banana every 15 minutes during cycling with drinking a sports drink. The result? Bananas were just as effective as sports drinks for maintaining performance and supporting recovery. Here's why. A medium banana contains about 28 grams of carbohydrates, providing quick energy. But it's not just about the carbs. During intense exercise, you lose electrolytes through sweat, particularly potassium and magnesium. Bananas replenish both. The potassium supports muscle function and helps prevent those painful muscle cramps that can derail your workout. Plus, the natural sugars in bananas, combined with fiber, provide sustained energy without the crash you might get from pure sugar. A 2024 review in the Journal of Nutrition Science noted that post-exercise recovery nutrition is crucial for muscle repair and glycogen replenishment. Bananas check both boxes. They provide the carbs to refuel your muscles and the nutrients to support recovery. And for anyone who's felt unusually fatigued, registered dietitians point out that if you're potassium deficient, eating bananas regularly could genuinely reduce that constant tiredness. The cardiovascular protection you didn't know about. A 2024 study published in Frontiers in Nutrition examined fruit consumption in patients with dyslipidemia. That's abnormal cholesterol levels. Out of multiple fruits studied, only apples and bananas significantly reduced the risk of all-cause mortality. Let that sink in. In a population at high risk for cardiovascular disease, regular banana consumption was associated with lower mortality rates. The mechanism is multifaceted. First, there's the potassium and blood pressure connection we already discussed. But bananas also contain fiber, folate, vitamin C, and various antioxidants. Studies have found that people who follow high-fiber diets have lower rates of cardiovascular disease and lower LDL cholesterol, the bad kind. One systematic review concluded that high-fiber intake could reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes and lower blood sugar in people who already have the disease. The American Heart Association and the Institute of Medicine both emphasize increasing potassium intake while reducing sodium. The standard Western diet is completely inverted, with most people consuming way too much sodium and not nearly enough potassium. Bananas help correct that imbalance. But here's what you need to know. Now, before you go buying a year's supply of bananas, let's talk about the reality check. Experts recommend 1 to 2 bananas per day, not 10. A medium banana has about 105 calories. Eating 2 means you're consuming roughly 210 calories, which is fine. But if you're downing 5 or 6 daily, thinking, more is better, you could end up with excess calorie intake and potentially miss out on other important nutrients from varied fruits. There's also a consideration for people on certain medications. If you're taking ACE inhibitors or potassium-sparing diuretics for high blood pressure, you need to talk to your doctor before significantly increasing banana intake. These medications can raise your blood potassium levels, and adding lots of dietary potassium on top could lead to hyperkalemia, which is dangerous. People with late-stage kidney disease also need to monitor potassium carefully. And here's something interesting: the ripeness matters. Green bananas contain more resistant starch, which is fantastic for gut health and blood sugar control. As bananas ripen and turn yellow with brown spots, that resistant starch converts to simple sugars, making them sweeter, but also raising the glycemic index slightly. Neither is bad. They just offer slightly different benefits. The bottom line: so what really happens when you eat a banana every day? Based on the research, quite a lot actually. Your blood pressure could improve, potentially reducing your cardiovascular disease risk by up to 25%. Your gut microbiome likely becomes more diverse and healthier, which ripples out to affect your immune system. Your mood might stabilize. Thanks to the tryptophan and B6 supporting serotonin production, your exercise performance and recovery could improve with the natural electrolytes and carbs. And you're supporting your heart health through multiple mechanisms. Look, bananas aren't a miracle cure. They won't fix everything. But the science is pretty clear. Regular banana consumption, as part of a balanced diet, offers genuine, measurable health benefits. From your cardiovascular system to your gut to your brain, that simple yellow fruit is doing more than you probably realized. And honestly, knowing what we know now, that's pretty remarkable for something you can grab on your way out the door for less than $1.